Hi, hello, welcome to Devon Monk's Works and Worlds. We are on Monday, Monk. I have absolutely no idea. I missed last week. Things were so busy. I wasn't able to do a Monday, Monk, and now I can't even remember what numbers we're on. I know it's in the early 100s, so I don't know. I'm going to take a wild guess. 103? 100, episode 104? Something like that. Wherever we are, I am glad you are here with me. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you spending a little time here with me. I'm going to go over the basics. How are things with writing, knitting, and Monkland life in general? I'm going to dive right in. Writing is going well. I'm working on Wayward Devils. I've been talking about this. But one of the things that happened differently this week is, okay, so the Rainforest Writing Retreat happens up in Lake Quinault, Washington, and it used to be just one session. There's a set of little cabins up there and a small kind of motel. It's not fancy. I'm talking, the location is what makes this so wonderful. The accommodations are, gosh, I don't know, not really rustic, but like, I think they were built in the 50s or 60s, and there have been upgrades. So it's not like it's an unpleasant stay. It's very comfortable, but it's not like you're not in condos, you know what I mean, with like room service and that kind of stuff. You're out in the middle of the Olympic rainforest. So you're kind of out there in these little cabins in this little motel, and there's one little road that goes by, and that's it. And you're, miles away from any other town. So it's wonderful for writing retreat because it gets you out away from everything. Very few distractions, right? Including the wireless can be, the internet connection can be a little spotty, which is fantastic for writers because then you don't have any excuses like, oh, well, I was researching something and you spent like 3 hours looking looking up like where a word came from and how it's been changed in all the different languages, or I don't know, chasing down different breeds of rabbits or something because you need one, moment where you say, oh yeah, this is my pet bunny, mop, and then you have to decide what kind of rabbit it is or something, but you really don't need to spend 3 hours researching, except you do spend 3 hours researching because you're a writer. So anyways, it kind of cuts down on some of that stuff, which is great. Anyway, the Rainforest Retreat has now, it moved on into 2 sessions because there's so many writers interested in it. And then it moved into 3 sessions. And that was when I first started going. And I was asked actually to come up to the inaugural 3rd session and kind of be a part of it, which was really sweet of them to ask me. And I did, and it was super fun. And I've been going back almost every year since. Well, this year they opened up a 4th session. So because the person who runs this, Patrick Swinson, fantastic author, check out his books if you can. He's also a publisher and he runs this retreat. He has a day job also, like he doesn't have enough pans in the fire, of being a high school teacher. And so this time of year is where he can get his spring break hours kind of to work for him being able to run the retreat up there. And he has people who co-run it with him so that if he's not there, there's somebody at the helm. But anyway, so it takes place during this time of year, somewhere between February and March, right in these weeks. Well, I always try to plan the earliest retreat because I want to get those words in. This is again that retreat where everybody posts their word count as they're working on this whiteboard in the main room or in one of the cabins or in the lounge or someplace where we find a place for the whiteboard. And you kind of keep track of the progress everybody is making, which is really encouraging and really makes you want to continue and work on your stuff too, because you see other people are there doing the same. And so I usually go in the earliest time because I want to get as many words as I can packed into the beginning of the year because everything gets busy and scheduled. And I figured just the fastest I can get to this really heavy duty writing retreat where I usually get, 30,000 words, that's half or more of a Wayward book. Well, it's half of a Wayward book. It's, it's a third of a longer novel. It's a chunk of a story, and it's really great to get it all at one go. So I scheduled myself for the first, and if you've been watching Monday Monks, you know that I had to cancel that this year, and instead I went over to the coast and I stayed at Cape Lookout and did what I could over there, but instead of doing word count, I did outlining and world building, which is a different sort of thing. Anyways, my very long story that cannot be short because it's me talking here. The last session of Rainforest was this last week, Wednesday through Sunday, 12 o'clock Sunday. And a friend of mine and some other friends of mine were all going to go up to that session. But one of my friends caught COVID and she's on the mend, which is great. And so she set up a private little server, like a Discord server, like a Slack server for those of us who were probably going to check in with each other with word counts and stuff up at Rainforest to check in just a small little group of like five or six writers. And so since I didn't have heavy duty writing planned at all during this week, because I have a lot of other March events that happen. March is a very busy month in my life, and there's a lot of things that happen in it. And so my time has really been spent on getting prepared for those things or doing those things. So, but they were writing and posting word counts, and it felt very much like that whiteboard. And I'm like, okay, so on Friday, which is one of the days that I do have for writing, I joined them in their word count sprints, and I got a lot of work done on Wayward Devils, and that was fantastic. I also went in completely the wrong way in the story. I knew where I was going. It was plotted out. I wrote it. I'm just chugging along through it, and then after I got through a chunk of words, I sat back and went, that was all wrong. I have gone in the wrong direction. That is not how the story should go, mostly because it doesn't have enough emotional payoff. It doesn't have enough tension, and it felt like the easy way out. And I'm like, as a reader, I want to be surprised, and I want to be excited about where my characters are going, and I don't want it always to be the easy way out, right? I want fun stuff to happen, and for how our characters get to where they get to. So I had to sit back and think about that. And I had a lot of things piled up over the weekend. So, I couldn't get to the actual writing. But now I know. And I had a talk with one of my kids who helped me work it out, which thank you so much, kid. I know you don't watch these, but still, they were around. And so, and I said, I just need to talk this out loud to someone. They're like, lay it on me. And so I just talked it out loud and said, what I had done and why I didn't think it worked. And some alternate things that I thought might work instead, and kind of chunked through all of them until we got to the one after like 5 or 6 different ideas that's like, okay, yeah, that's the one that's going to make this book really shine. So that means that I've got to dump all those words that I wrote, all that progress I made, and start again from where I started before on Friday. Not like the whole book, but it was like this, I'm almost toward the end of the book. And so I felt like, oh good, I get this scene done. I got a couple more scenes of books done, but no, now I got to go back and do this whole scene again. So that's where writing is. I'm kind of back at the beginning, but I have a better path forward. So, I always think of it this way, like, did I waste time writing the wrong way in the book? And the way that writing works, no, because I wouldn't have known if it was the wrong way or not until I got through writing it. It was only after sitting back and going, I don't feel that that's as emotionally impactful as I expected it to be, that I could say, okay, that means we've got to change tactics and go at it again. So I never see going down these side roads in books as the wrong way. If you'll remember from when I was talking earlier about this book, I said, I just did something that I didn't expect this book to do. It's a side road. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm going to take it. And I did earlier in the book, and it was absolutely the right thing to do. And it made the book way more fun. So that was I'm going this way and I think it's the right way, that worked out. And this one, I'm going the right way and I think it's the right way, did not work out. And that's how writing is. So now I go back and I'll do the revision on that. So was that more than you wanted to hear about writing? Was that like a lot more? Was that, hang on, let me look. Was that like 8 minutes more than what you wanted to hear about writing? Because, that's a lot of writing. Okay, so writing is going pretty good because I know where I'm going again. We'll give it a try. And, is this the right way? I don't know. I won't know until I write it. And then once I get it written, I'll know if that's the right way or not, and then go from there. So fingers crossed it is the right way this time, and we'll get toward the end of the book finally. So, okay, that's writing. Knitting, not doing it. Not knitting, not doing cross stitch, doing absolutely zero crafts, just doing, March again is very busy, so just doing a lot of house upkeep and other things to kind of juggle all the events that are going on in March. So not a lot of creative time for knitting or anything like that. Although on that writing list that I was doing the whiteboard with, the rainforest list that my friend set up, a couple of those writers are also knitters, and so they're all talking about knitting and stuff, and I'm like, oh, now I want to get back to it. So we'll see. I think it'll be April at the earliest if I get to it. Okay, knitting. How is Monkland in general going? Well, you may have realized as I've been going along here that it's been busy. It has been busy. Things are beautiful. We had beautiful weather this week. Oh my gosh, we ended up in the high 60s and low 70s, which is mild and gorgeous, and kind of felt like a little hint of not summer, like, oh my gosh, it's so hot, I've got to, sit in front of the air conditioner and I don't want to go outside because it's going to bake me to dust. But like, there's the sun, and the sun is good, and it's warm, and things are blooming. And I saw my first bumblebee of this season. It was buzzing around my daffodils, and I'm like, it's a bumblebee. So it was just really good. I also saw I'm not sure if it was a yellow jacket or a honeybee. I think it was a honeybee also. So I saw two whole bees. And why did I see those bees? Because I was weeding the front bed. This is that front bed that I swore I'm going to simplify so I don't have to weed this sucker anymore. And I didn't think I was going to weed it this year because I thought we were going to just dig everything up and put in the rocks and make it beautiful and put big giant flower pots on it. But there's some events coming up at my house, and I don't want the front bed to look like it's just chock full of weeds. And so I went ahead and weeded it. This will hopefully be the last year I have to do this, because usually I weed it 3 times a year. It just takes that much work. And I'm going to tell you how long it took me to weed this bed. It took me 6 or 7 hours. And I did it in 2-hour, 2.5-hour chunks 3 times. So that bed is like a day of work weeding. One bed in my yard. And it looks great. Maybe I'll post a picture of it here. I don't know if I have one, but if so, you'll see it there. But I'm going to tell you, I went out and measured it this morning because I'm like, why does this bed take so long to weed? When over all the years, ever since I've lived in this house, I know I have to weed that bed 3 times a year, and it will take 6 hours to get through that whole bed. And so it's just, I know I'm complaining, but it's like a day of work on just one spot in the yard, and there's so much yard. So, which is why we want to simplify it, because I know how long this bed takes to weed, and I could get what's 6 times 3? 18. I could get those 18 hours back, right? And not have to just weed them. And also, it's a bed that I have to weed. It's very hands and knees weeding, and it's under roses, so I'm always scratching up my shoulders and my arms with rose thorns. So it's not like, hey, it's fun, it's easy. It's like you're crab crawling around under brush and all sorts of stuff in there. So as I said, I decided to measure it this morning. So that bed is 72 feet long. 72 feet long, people. And the bed is 5 feet deep. That's a lot of ground to cover for hand pulling every dandelion and grass and weirdo weed that decides to get in there around the flowers. So it's a big bed is what I'm saying. And I'm going to be happy when it is a less needing to be weeded bed. So yeah, that happened, but it looks fantastic, as it always does in the spring when it gets weeded, which is why it's worth doing it. It's so beautiful. It takes so much work, y'all. So we're definitely going to get on the stone redoing that bed and its sister bed, because I have the exact same kind of bed in the backyard. That's the same. I think it's probably the same depth. It's probably 5 feet deep, but it's maybe a tiny bit shorter, not by much though. So, and it takes as long as the front bed to weed too. So again, getting those two turned into a more simplified bed will get me, a couple of days, a day and a half worth of time back that is spent out there doing that. And I was talking to my sister, hello sister, about if I would miss the kind of meditative time, because weeding a flower bed is a little meditative. I put on headphones and listen to music, and kind of just, it's a little alone time, just me and the weeds, and making the decisions of, what to pull and what to dig and how to make it all work. And it's kind of quiet time if it's not too hot and sweaty out there, or it's not raining and freezing my fingers. Like, it's kind of a nice quiet time. And I thought, am I going to miss that kind of quiet time of working in that bed? And I'm like, no, I have the entire freaking yard left that if I want to sit and dig in the dirt, I've got a lot of dirt I can dig in. So I'm not going to miss it. It's going to be okay. So yeah, that's what's basically going on in Monkland. We have a lot of events coming up. We've been doing some cleaning, and oh gosh, my husband tackled the ivy. I know I've talked about this before. We have ivy down the whole front of our property that separates us and the next property, and it's a monstrous job, and he got that all trimmed back, and so that'll be good. We will only do that once this year, so that's just about done. So we're kind of ahead a little bit on our yard work, and I know it's going to happen. Spring's going to come on so hard because it's almost spring, right? It's going to be sunshine, rain, and everything that's green is going to just explode. It grows so fast. It goes from, oh, look at the cute little weed, to we've got a 6-foot thistle in our backyard, which, yes, really happened. So like, I know spring's coming on hot and heavy, and it's just revving the gas pedal. So we're getting a little bit done before that hits, that big, huge growth explosion hits. So maybe we'll be going into summer a little bit more ahead of the weeds. We never get ahead of the weeds. That's not going to happen. But anyways, yeah, we're just kind of working on stuff like that. And I think that's enough for a Monday Monk. I've pretty much covered what's going on in Monday land, Monk me land, Monday land. And so until next time, I hope you are having a wonderful week. I hope the weather has been nice where you're at. I hope you have a few flowers blooming. And if not, I hope you get to see your first bumblebee soon. And I will talk to you all later. Bye for now.